Magic Scrumpy's Making Melee Characters Viable series is one of my favorites on YouTube, and I've decided to replicate it with something I'm a little more familiar with, Pokemon. But seriously, Magic Scrumpy's content is great, and I absolutely recommend checking it out after mine. And as long as we're plugging, if you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe. Only 5% of my viewers are subscribed, and I'm lacking in the department anyway. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe if you change your mind. Unviable Pokemon more often than not have many great qualities, and what holds them back is an inability to use those qualities, or an overshadowing crippling weakness. For example, Rampardos is one of the highest attack stats and best abilities in the game, but is unable to utilize it due to its poor bulk and speed, causing it to be left completely untiered in Generation 7. Another great and famous example is Shedinja, who has easily the best ability in the game, but poor defensive utility and an HP stat of 1 render it mostly useless. So, when trying to buff Pokemon, we want to allow them to use their strengths without making them overly powerful, and also preserve their identity. We could easily take Rampardos and make his speed 120, completely removing his issue of being way too slow, but then that removes his identity as a slow, heavy-hitting Pokemon. Now when we take a look at Ninjask, the first thing that really stands out about him is his speed. It's super high, 15 points above the next non-legendary Pokemon. He also has a decent attack stat in 90, but here's where everything starts to fall apart. His defenses are awful. His defense is the 5th lowest in the entire game, and his special defense is the 8th lowest. His HP of 61 isn't horrible, but when combined with his awful defenses, he is easily one of the frailest Pokemon in the game. And if you were hoping his move pool or abilities would save him, sorry about that. His only non-stab coverage options are Dig, Night Slash, and Metal Claw, with Dig needing a turn to charge and Metal Claw being a pretty bad typing and only 50 base power. Its only real coverage option is Night Slash, and even then, it only helps him hit ghosts, because Ninjask already has no problem touching psychics. His lack of moves makes him extremely predictable and easy to deal with, and unwallable by common Pokemon like Corviknight and Ferrothorn. But hey, at least he gets Sword Stance to boost his attack. His abilities are decent in a vacuum, with Speed Boost being fantastic and single-handedly propelling Blaziken into Ubers. So why didn't it do the same for Ninjask? Well, for starters, Blaziken's stats are much more well-rounded. Blaziken also has a much better type combination both offensively and defensively. Oh, and it doesn't take half of its health on switching. Further, Ninjask is already so fast that he doesn't really need additional speed, and it doesn't patch up his problems. Infiltrator is a decent ability, but Ninjask already outspeeds most substitute and screen users in like pretty much any tier, so it's pretty niche, but it's still the better choice over Speed Boost. So now that I've thoroughly complained about Ninjask, let's get to the fun part. Let's buff him. First, I've decided to slightly boost his base stats. I've added 10 points to his base attack, which will more reliably allow him to use his fantastic speed to his advantage, allowing more powerful U-turns and sweeping potential. I'll also add 15 defense and 10 special defense, giving him just that much more survivability while still preserving his identity as a frail, speedy Pokemon. For his awful move pool, I started out by giving him Sky Attack, allowing him to have a much more immediately powerful flying type stab option, and also boosting Acrobatics to its full power with the consumption of the Power Herb. For the rest of his move pool changes, I made none. Nope, I did absolutely nothing. Ninjask can keep his horrible coverage. Instead, we're going to do something that gives him arguably more power. We're going to give him the ability Tinted Lens. This ability is fantastic, completely removing not very effective moves from the picture. This will allow him to absolutely shred common defensive walls like Corviknight, which would completely counter him normally. And it is also completely logical for Ninjask to have. Just look at his eyes, look at those things. Tell me there's nothing special going on in there. And with that, well done. It turns out Ninjask really didn't need too much to become viable. Although he's still frail, susceptible to being revenge killed, and weak to Stealth Rock, very weak to Stealth Rock, he is now a much better pivot, decent sweeper, and can't be walled out as easily. We aren't trying to make him perfect, or even a major OE threat, but a solid Pokemon, and I think we've accomplished that. Let me know who you'd like to see next down in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more content. Please subscribe! And with that, here's a little view of what viable Ninjask can do. while also boosting acrobatics to its. Holy crap! It's on the screen. It's right in front of me. It's not even that hard. While also boosting acrobatics to full power with the consumption of life orb, power herb, same thing. And also boosting acrobatics to full power with the consumption of the life. I did it. I did it again.